Okay, so we are live now on YouTube.
All right.
And I don't know if anybody else will show up, but if they pop in, great. If not, that's fine too. So why don't we just start with introductions? I'll go first. My name's Chris Long. I'm from Huntington Beach, California, and currently I'm the Ed Tech Director or Coordinator for Huntington Beach Union High School District. Formerly a physics teacher, but I've always been interested in how I can improve writing in my class, and especially with Common Core, how to improve writing and better ways to give feedback on that to students. Go ahead, Greg.
My name is Greg Smith. I am from Orange County, California, very close to Chris, and I am a full-time library media specialist at a high school, and I also teach one section of advanced placement, language, and composition. So in the past, I was a English teacher for 6 or 7 years before I took over being a librarian. So, and I'm really interested in this conversation because I've been spending 5 hours the past 2 days giving feedback on 140 essays before I go back to school on Monday. So I'm very interested to see if I can do this in a better way. And I don't write on papers. Actually, very little I write on papers. Tricia, why don't you go?
So I'm Tricia Sanchez. I'm up in the Sacramento area in Northern California. I'm currently a 7th grade language arts teacher, part of a Chromebook pilot program, so I have a class set of Chromebooks this year. So it's been very interesting. Yes, I have 160 students and trying to figure out how to give quality feedback without spending every waking hour doing it. So I'm excited to be in this session. And then we have somebody else I see, Nathan.
Yeah. We're just doing introductions.
Hi, yeah, I'm Nathan Toft in Ottawa, Canada. I teach a grade 5 class. I just popped in, so I'm just getting a sense of what you guys are talking about right now.
We started late, so we're just that's basically it. That we've all done introductions. So, okay. I'll just start with asking questions. How many people are using something to do audio or video feedback now, and if so, what are you using?
I've dabbled in leaving voice comments on my kids' Google Docs using, and I just lost the name of it because they just changed the name of it. But that's what I've been dabbling in. Okay.
Personally, I went on to the English Companion Ning, which is an online Ning for English teachers run by Jim Burke, who's a teacher up in Burlingame, California. And I use the voice memo in the iPhone, so I can kind of just give you a very basic view of it. So here's the app. I'm holding it up to the camera. There you go. So here's the app, and all I do is after I read a paper, I record, and I give I just do the recording in here, and then there's a feature where I can send the feedback to students. So at the beginning of the year, I made a Google Doc or a Google form where I could get all the students' emails, and then I just directly send the feedback to them after I finish after I finish all the memos. And then I store them on my computer for further notice.
So basically, you're creating like an MP3 file, and then you email it to them, or the app already has their emails and it just sends it for you.
Inside of the app, there's so I'll bring it up for you here on the screen. There's a part where I can click share, and when I click share, it goes ahead and it gives me the option of whether I can send it to a student, and then I just enter their email that way. Now, here's kind of the trick. The first time I did this, Chris, it took a long time because I had to go ahead and add every student's email in there. However, now that I've done that once, as soon as I type the first few letters, the phone remembers, you know, the address, the email address, and it pops up, and I just click it and send it right there. And then it arrives to them as an attachment, as an MP3 or whatever it may be.
Is anybody, Nathan, are you using anything?
Not in the sense that you're talking. I've done a fair amount of podcasting and blogging with my students, but I was curious to see how you folks were using it for assessment and feedback.
And it looks like we have Sarah who just joined us. Sarah, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, and if you're using anything for audio or video feedback right now, what is it and how are you using it?
My name's Sarah. I teach 4th grade in Florida, and I'm not using any audio or visual at this time, but I'd like to because I use a lot of purple ink to give feedback to my students in their writing, and I'd like to try something else.
One thing that we've been using a little bit is the Canvas Learning Management System, and it has one of the coolest things about it is it has embedded into it audio and video feedback. So you could either do like a full video, or if you didn't want to show your face or whatever, you weren't dressed, you could just do audio comments. And then once you do that, the student gets like a notification, and if they want, they can put their SMS text number in there, so they get a notification, hey, Mr. Long's left a comment for you, and then they can open it up and view or listen to that comment. And the first couple of times I did that, it was like my students were like so jazzed about it. They were happy that I gave them feedback instead of the typical like purple or red pen thing where it's like, oh no, So I think it really changes the students' perception of us as teachers, like trying to help them versus just trying to like point out their mistakes.
Yeah, I can see the benefits of it.
I'm also really good too when I've dabbled in voice comments to really just focus on. I focus more on content rather than the grammar side or anything like that. Because I figure that we can handle that in another way, but be able to use voice comments to demonstrate my thinking is kind of hard sometimes, because then I end up writing, a novel myself if I want to write a note on their paper. So I've been using voice comments just strictly for content feedback.
Something that I've found to be helpful personally is that when I'm giving the feedback to the students through the voicemail, just by speaking out loud and hearing myself talk about, the errors or whatever, the perception of the paper are, I've started making a list on a separate piece of paper of the things that are most common that I've seen throughout, and that's really helped me with kind of reteaching concepts after I hand the papers back to the students. So even though I collect all of the voice memos, I don't give the students the voice memo until they've been given the paper back. So I give them the assignment back, we do some sort of an activity with that, and then I go through a lot of guided practice and sort of a think aloud to show them, these were the most common things that have taken place in the paper, and then I go ahead and share with them the voice memo feedback.
So what do you guys, in response to the voice comments or audio comments or video comments, what do you guys do as strategies for getting them to do something with those comments? Do you allow resubmissions, or do you say no resubmissions, just this is what I want you to focus on next time? How do you deal with that?
I have my kids, I try and focus on one part of their writing. I don't leave many comments for the whole piece. I really try and focus on what would give them, what feedback would give them the biggest bang for their buck so that they can go back and they can rework it. I don't want them reworking the entire writing piece. I want them reworking a piece that changes the bulk of the writing, if that makes sense. So I try to be very targeted.
In my experience, what I do is, and this is sort of an interesting concept a little bit, is that a student gets full credit for doing the paper. So I will give it a letter score, and I'll give it a score based upon the AP rubric. But if the essay is out of 50 points, or whether it's 1 point, if they do the assignment, they get full credit for it. But then the score that I mark onto so they get a full credit in the grade book, but onto the actual paper, I will put what I determine is the overall quality score of the paper. And what I've noticed is that with the feedback that I give them, I also tell them, if you want to rewrite this paper, you're more than welcome to, and I'll read it again for you and see how you can improve. And it's sort of, in a sense, is giving them the opportunity to, you know, put the learning back on their own shoulders and figure out, well, do I want to improve, or is it all about the grade for me? Because that's one of the things I've noticed, at least in my classes for AP, is that a lot of the kids care more about the grade than they do about the growth. And this way, it's sort of like, okay, well, you've got the grade, but do you really care about the growth? So it's sort of like this this passive challenge that I'm throwing at them.
I like that. How many of them are you finding that like are caring about more of the growth as a result?
It's been an interesting process because I'm really bad at getting papers back in a relatively good amount of time. So I would say that the kids, I would say like 15% of them come back and they're like, how can I get better at my writing? Like, I don't like this. And something I've noticed is that in the past, and this is, you know, very anecdotal, is that the kid sees, you know, I get a C on the paper and I get, let's say it's out of 100, I get 75 points. And then they're really motivated to up their writing simply to get the grade. By kind of eliminating that whole concept of like, well, you've got the grade, let's see what you can do. I've had greater buy-in, and I feel like there's greater engagement in class when it comes to writing instruction, because the kids realize, oh man, my writing is not good. So I would say about 15% of the students come and they say, how can I get better, because, you know, this isn't good. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah. And it looks like we have a living room full of people just joined us. You guys wouldn't mind introducing yourselves and telling us a little bit about where you're from, and if you have any experience using audio or video feedback, what is it, what are you doing, and how is it working?
I'm Amy Fadegi, and I'm a principal in Sonoma County.
I am Jenny Derby, and I'm a 5th grade teacher in Marin.
I'm Ashley Williams. I'm also a 5th grade teacher in Marin. And I have no experience giving audio feedback. I'm just kind of learning about it myself.
I think we have, at least on our site, we have teachers that are just starting to play with the comments feedback through Google Docs, but definitely interested more in how to do that efficiently and effectively and meaningful, and the audio is definitely an interest as well.
One of the issues I found using Google Docs and trying to use voice comments is that you have to open each individual document, and you have to open it with voice comments. And being a 7th grade teacher with 160 students, that's a little daunting, but in elementary it might be a little bit easier. But the voice comments in Google are really cool right now.
What is the name of that I've never used it, but I heard of
find
it. And I started to Google it, and I'm like, huh, I think they changed the name of it.
They did. They changed the name of it. So I've been working on that.
Chris, are you referring to the add-on in Google Docs that you can use? Let me try and find it here. I have a teacher at my school who uses it.
Really sad our lower third's not working for you guys because it was pretty awesome. I don't know what's happening.
Did you do a custom graphic and all?
I did for Edcamp. I'm super sad. I'm challenged when it comes to lower thirds, I think. Because they're looking for the
Kaizena.
How do you spell that, Trish?
I just found it. It's K-I-E. I'm sorry, K-A-I-N-E-Z-A.
Is that the one that most everyone's using, or are there a bunch?
I think that's the popular one right now.
Okay.
And it is in the.
But that's the one where you're saying.
Yeah, it's in the Chrome Web Store, and you can add it.
Okay.
Add the app. But yeah, so you have to go to each document, and you have to go to Open With. So you have to right-click Open With, and then when you have the app, it becomes a choice. So you can open with Kaizena. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But it is really cool. They just did an update, and with the update, they changed the name, and it is really cool. And I'm trying to use it as much as I can. Because I think it's, as a teacher, I just think it's valuable because I think we talk faster than we write, and I think we can get more ideas out there to the kids.
Right. Very cool.
How about, have any of you actually flipped this around where students are maybe assigned peer review and they read one or two student works and then they use audio or video comments themselves to give their peers feedback?
That would be fun. That would be fun, yeah.
That's not something I did in Canvas, but I know that there's peer reviews and the teachers and the students have access to the same tools. So it's like embedded into the system, so it's really easy. So they just click leave a media comment and then they could leave the comment that way.
I've done that with just comments in a Google Doc, but not with anything audio or video.
That's not something I've done. Unfortunately, I don't feel like we have the tech to get that done at my site. I like that, though.
Chris, I think this goes till 10:10, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guess what time it is?
I don't want us to miss out on session number 2 since it took us forever to get into one.
Yeah, hopefully session 2 goes a little smoother. I kind of got lost on where to find everybody to get the invites, but thanks everybody for coming up. Anything else?
I'll post a link to Kaizena on Twitter, okay?
Okay. Tag it, hashtag it, edcampHOME.
I will.
All right.
Nice
awesome.
meeting everyone.
Everybody.
Trish, don't forget that autocorrect.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'll be good this time, Amy. Nice to see you, and Ashley and Jenny. Nice to meet you too. And I may be teaching 5th grade next year, so watch out. If I do, I'm gonna contact you too.
Rockstar resources over here.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.